is Nike doing?
Foreplay, presented by Barstool Sports. It is January 9th, 2024. It's the end of an era. As we learned yesterday, officially Tiger Woods announced that he will be moving on from Nike Golf. What a run. Pretty good run. There's a lot to break down on that run, on the future, on the whole thing, but it is Tiger Woods week here on the Foreplay podcast. I know we've never talked about him before. We haven't really given a ton of attention to Mr. Tiger Eldrick Woods, but this week we're going to, because tomorrow, which is Wednesday, January 10th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be releasing our first ever in the history of this franchise official original video shot with Tiger Woods.
Holy shit. Yeah, it's been a long time coming in all aspects. Just our lives of being Tiger Woods fans, number one, the circling of the Tiger Woods person that he is and his crew and just his team that we've been doing for 6-7 years at this point of really playing the game right and just waiting for our turn and just being super patient, very patient if you think about it, right? Like we've just been accepting just being on the sidelines with him and just watching from afar and just giving high fives. And when we had the high fives, it was the biggest moment in our lives. And we just waited to get that fucking tap in, you know, just tap us in for 10 minutes, however long we can get. And we got it. We got a beautiful video coming out on our YouTube page, 25 minutes long, of Tiger Woods with a golf club in his hand on a golf course with us, swinging, hitting balls. The craziest thing we've ever seen him do on video. He does, and we're not going to give it away, but he does something that if we were scrolling on Instagram watching Tiger Woods do this, we would do an emergency podcast about it, especially right now with his health and like the questions about where his career is at and is he happy and is he healthy. Him doing what he did in our video, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. It's an amazing world that we're living in. I can't believe it's out today. I was making the teaser all weekend, just rock hard, like legitimately rock hard. Blood. Oh, yeah. I was gonna faint. I had so much blood down there. Like it was just, it was
a pulsating penis you had going on there.
Pulsating. Like every time I hit a new beat in the teaser, I'd just laugh. I'd go. I started clapping, being like, "You gotta be kidding me!" Some of the things that like were there in the video, and that was hard to believe, you know. So yeah, it's amazing stuff, guys.
And in true Tiger Woods fashion, he always makes it interesting. He's no longer with Nike. 2 days before we're going to put this video out, it's just, you know, it's never, and I'm not going to say it's never easy because it's just interesting is the word that I will use. You know, we've known we're going to have this video out since we shot it a couple months ago. And there's obviously been the rumors about Tiger, and he was asked about it at the PNC and gave kind of a strange answer, I would say, just kind of repeated the same 5 words. So people were like, all right, maybe he's not going to be with Nike. And then we were talking about it before the show. I was getting on the subway this morning and I have alerts on for Tiger Woods when he tweets. And I look down and I see the blue background that we've been talking about for 5 years, where it's always like, oh my gosh, you see that? No! The alerts go off and he's usually hurt or he's having a procedure done and blah, 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 blah. And I just look down and through the alert, you can't read what it says. So then I have to do the process of clicking onto it. And during those 2 seconds, I'm like, it's over. This guy he's hurt or he's doing something and we're about to put a video out with him. And it's a train wreck. And it ends up being that he's parting ways with Nike, which is obviously a huge deal. But during that 2 second going from my front screen onto Twitter to read what it was, I went through, I was Dr. Strange. I went through a bazillion scenarios. And, you know, it's always interesting is what I'm trying to say. Always.
It's since before Thanksgiving, we've been sitting on this video and we have been tiptoeing through internet landmines, trying to make sure we avoid one of many things that can and has happened involving Tiger Woods that could in any way lead to us just not being able to put out this video, whether that is an injury, a life update, total change in who it goes to live. Who knows what could possibly happen, but there's something that could come out that could just make it where, oh yeah, sorry guys, you know, that footage you guys had due to this, or this reason, you just can't put that out. And so we have been just trying to avoid it. We've been trying to make sure something else doesn't come out that ruins our video. And I think we did it. We got there. I think that this apparel change thing, it's almost great that he kind of teased the future. He teased the LA, said see you in LA, which you can read a lot into that about the fact that he's basically saying he's going to play LA, which is huge. He's saying he's probably going to reveal whatever new apparel he's going to be in LA, which is huge. So I think we're going to skate through, hopefully, fingers crossed, but Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, we are going to put out this video on our YouTube. It's incredible, start to finish, all the build up to it, how cool he actually was. I know we talked about it on the show, but there were whispers throughout the entire filming TaylorMade Media Day that Tiger showed up early, hit balls in the range for 30 minutes. He's been in a great mood. He's been laughing and hanging, which the one day in your life you get to film with Tiger Woods, who the hell knows? He could wake up in a bad mood. His neck is stiff, anything. And he happened to be showing up. And boy, when he hopped out of that cart, he had a big smile on his face, and the video could not have gone better. So we were all giddy. We were all just, we were slapping each other on the ass. We were putting our arms around each other, watching footage afterwards. Like, it could not have gone better. And now we get to finally put it out. We've been all getting text messages from all the different editors about send us your Tiger Woods footage, anything you have from our whole history with Tiger, because they've been basically grinding for 2 months over how are we going to make this video perfect. So it's finally here. It comes at the same week when Tiger announces he's leaving Nike. So we have a lot to talk about on that front as well. But it's Tiger Woods week here, which, again, like I said, we haven't really done much of before, so I'm excited to get to Tiger Woods.
Go look at the thumbnail. Just hilariously, just go, like, right now it's live. Just go look at the thumbnail and tell me
it's not live yet. It's not live yet. This is Tuesday.
Yes, it is. Oh, it is Tuesday. It is Tuesday.
It's coming out Wednesday.
Today's Tuesday.
Oh,
it's okay. You're excited. I'm excited.
You're excited. I get it.
That's the first time this year that I've gotten messed up by the podcast coming out another day and then the release and all that stuff. So, yeah, tomorrow. That's right. Okay, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, go look at the thumbnail and tell me you're not going to go click on that video.
Real talk. 52% of men over 40 experience some form of ED between the ages of 40 and 70. Clearly not Frankie when he's making teasers about Tiger Woods, but 52% of men, not including that, do. It's always been a taboo topic. Thankfully, HIMS is changing that by providing affordable access to ED treatment, all online. HIMS is changing men's healthcare by providing access to affordable and discreet sexual health treatments, all from the comfort of your couch. Gentlemen, I'm just going to say, frankly, if you happen to find yourself in a situation where you could maybe have sexual intercourse with a woman, really anyone, but especially in this situation, a woman, I feel like you would like to not be experiencing ED symptoms.
I think that's right. I think it's an accurate portrayal. You're painting an accurate picture, and I'm agreeing with the sentiment that you're putting forth. It's true.
One of the things I've noticed as I've gotten older is, like, all of the advertisements and the sponsors, they really never were targeted towards me because I lived a pretty healthy, normal upbringing. I've been lucky. A rock hard life, just like in all facets. Like, if you hear just like an insurance company or a mortgage company, it's just like it kind of just blew right over your head. And you don't realize that, like, there's a reason there's a reason why that
if you got ED,
they're massive companies. It's because people use them, and, like, it just wasn't in my range. And now we're, like, slowly getting to the part where almost every single thing that we talk about.
Are you trying to tell us something?
No. I'm just saying. At some point, I'm gonna get
taking a long route to get to where I think I know where we're going.
Get to the point where I'm listening. My ears are listening to this. I'm perking up to this because I'm hearing that at some point this is gonna happen, right? Like, the numbers are staggering that you just said. So, like, you got to pay attention. And I can't imagine being in that boat, being like, I got to get this thing going, and, like, I need some help with it, as opposed to,
needs
like,
to be going, man.
Yeah, you need something to get.
We got to put some coal in this fire. We got to get something going.
Of course, you're listening to this. If you've been experiencing this, of course you're listening to this, being like, give me that promo code. This is a necessity.
HIMS provides access to clinically proven generic alternatives to Viagra and Cialis, up to 95% cheaper, with options as low as $2 per dose. Process is simple and 100% online. No uncomfortable doctor's visits. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/4. That's HIMS.com/4 for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/4.
Dan, are you hearing anything about this apparel thing? Because this is obviously the end of arguably the greatest relationship between a player and a company, and it's just, now it's over, and what's going to happen now?
Yeah, I got a text back from Mark Steinberg for the first time in about 6 months, which was awesome. I love, one of the less glamorous parts of this job is just sending texts to people who just don't respond. Happens a lot. And I know that sends Frankie's mind for a loop. So Frankie, you should spend a week in my shoes, and you would probably pass
That drives
out.
me crazy.
Yeah. He's gonna, from what Mark said, he's gonna show up in LA in new clothes. So I'm sure it'll leak before that. But I mean, what the fuck is Nike doing? Like, I'm sorry. This is, they let Roger Federer go a couple of years ago, who was another GOAT. He went to On, the Swiss shoe company. They must just be deciding that they're completely out of golf, because they don't make clubs anymore. They sponsor a bunch of guys on the PGA Tour, but no one's buying clothes because, Scottie Scheffler is wearing them. Like, Tiger Woods was Nike Golf, and people who bought Nike golf clothes, I think, did so in large part because of Tiger Woods. Could he be that expensive that it's not worth it? Like, isn't he one of the guys like LeBron James, like Kobe Bryant, like Michael Jordan, who deserves one of these lifetime contracts where it's just like, Tiger is with Nike. They stuck with him through everything. And all of the other companies, Gatorade, American Express, Buick, AT&T, Accenture, they dropped his ass after the scandal. The only real constant through this entire thing has been Nike Golf. And now you let him go? Now is the time that they let him go?
I would say on that front, there's something that we've talked about over the years is how badly Nike dropped the ball with Tiger Woods not having really in any way what Michael Jordan has. And that's crazy, because Tiger Woods is as iconic as it gets. I think we've all kind of put him up there. He's not Michael Jordan, I don't think, overall, but he's in that conversation. There's only a couple people in that conversation. And for Tiger Woods to not truly have like the go-to golf shoe in the history of golf with all kinds of cool different designs, and every year they come out with a new one and everybody goes nuts and they're collectors, and with the Jordans, dude, you got cement for, you got people go nuts for all these different kinds, and there's just nothing similar that they've ever done with Tiger. Clearly it has been an incredibly good relationship. This what's his face, I retweeted it, Joe P
Pompano?
something,
Pompliano,
who always
Pompliano
tweets about a lot of the business side of stuff. He tweeted out 27-year partnership, $500 million of payments to Tiger Woods, billions in sales generated. One of the most lucrative endorsement deals in sports history is officially over. Those clips of Tiger holing out on 16 at Augusta, of Tiger winning over and over and over and over and over again, are all with him and Nike. So it's a win for them. But I still, at the end of the day, think they could have cashed in more. And the fact that these last couple of years since the accident, he came back, he's wearing FootJoys. Like, clearly there was something at the end of it that was not going perfectly, and here it is at the end. But I would say I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't, it's not on Nike's end of it. I wouldn't be surprised if Tiger and Steinberg and their team were sort of like, hey, okay, entering this next phase, Tiger, of your career, kind of the back nine, if you will. Like, yeah, if Nike gives us an unimaginable offer, we'll take it. But I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know about energized, trying to get creative. If they see how much apparel and all that is wider now, there's just a wider plethora of options that they could get into. That I feel like on their side, they might have been like, you know what, like Tiger's just kind of been wearing the same fucking Nike clothes basically for 27 years. We'd like to go a different direction. And so I don't know that it's fully on Nike, and as crazy as it is, even though it's probably, I don't know, the second most successful partnership between a player and an apparel company ever, I still think they probably left something on the table.
They did. They left something on the table for sure. They also don't own the TW logo.
I was curious about that.
So that's coming with him. It was a bit of a thing with Roger Federer, because Nike owned the RF logo, and they held it hostage for a couple years until Federer eventually got it back. But Tiger owns that. So I got to think, whatever brand he goes to, they will be launching a Tiger Woods apparel division. Just call it like the Tiger brand, same as the Jordan brand. I don't know if the logo is going to be the TW logo. I saw on Twitter, you get the fist pump that he did in the 1997 Masters. That would be a really sick logo. Yeah, he's probably looking at the next
Frank.
What's that?
The Frank logo. That the Tiger.
I don't know about Frank. Yeah, the head cover. I think that was a Nike like creation, so that might be a Nike thing. I'm not sure, but yeah, you're right. I mean, he's got 30 years, 40 years. The next 30, 40 years, a lot of the money. Jordan still makes like $100 million a year or more from the Jordan brand. So if Tiger can go to somewhere where he has equity, it's not just an endorsement deal. It's not just, they pay me $20 million a year. and they can use my likeness and whatever it is, but he gets a percentage of sales or he gets ownership of the company. That's going to be much more lucrative for him in the long run. It's shit. I mean, Nike's brand, I think, is lesser today than it was yesterday. Like you lose Tiger Woods, you lose Roger Federer. Like, I don't know. I just think that for a brand that has been at the top of the sports apparel game for so long, Nike's been like, you're a big time athlete, you're coming out of school, like Nike is kind of the first place that you look. Their grip on that status, I think, is loosening.
Which is amazing to hear that after when you watch the movie Air, like where they came from, Nike, and like how big that Michael Jordan signing was. They were the small fish in a huge pond at that point. Reebok and Adidas and all these other brands were so big, and they were able to grab so many better players. And then Nike's like, Matt Damon came in and was like, let's just sign Michael Jordan. I know we have it. And now we're like, they're the automatic signing for the best athletes, which is true. My question would be, do you think that there's debates on both sides on who dropped the ball or if this is a mutual parting or whatever? Now, do you think that just because Nike wasn't able to see that the game of golf was going to get to where it is today with all of these other brands being able to take over the game because they've been diving deep into like the quarter zips and the knitted sweaters and the pro shop apparel like Peter Millar and all of the Grayson and all these other brands that have been able to come in and take over the sport, and Nike just didn't have the foresight and like and the ability to kind of dive deep into that world, that they've just lost the golf game, and they're looking at it being like, we can't take our next 50 years as a company in this game of golf, so let's just start to one by one just like close that division. Like that part of we lost, like it's over. Like we had Tiger Woods and we didn't take advantage of it, and like now these other brands are just dominating us in that space. You go to a PGA Superstore and Nike's like has the smallest rack in the entire place. Like they're just not that big anymore. And in golf, and like, how can you justify a $50 million payment to Tiger Woods? And how can you have Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler and all these guys? Like, how can you justify it? There's no money coming in from it.
Right. Like, yeah, you're right about like the Peter Millars of the world have decided like, we're going to have like these nicer quarter zips and this great material, and it's going to be great for golf. Like even with Tiger Woods as their face of golf, like who's really buying Nike golf gear? I did
as a kid. I bought it all the time because Tiger wore it.
But I mean, like recently, I feel like that payment made sense. That whatever that dollar amount was when he was the cock of the walk and was dominating everybody, and the whole world knew about it.
Right,
that made sense.
There were so few options back then, because I was trying to do a little thought exercise of like, in what imaginable world, what else could Tiger Woods have worn this whole time? And it's really limited to like, I don't know, Adidas, FootJoy. That's like the only companies I could really think of that reasonably could have signed Tiger Woods in '97 that he could have been wearing throughout this whole thing. And so I was just thinking when you said that, like I did in the early 2000s, when me and my brother started getting super into golf, like we went to the store and you pretty much could choose from those things. Like
that's right.
And like we chose Nike because Tiger wore it now. And I think Frankie's spot on. Now I think that they've kind of looked and they've been like, okay, we dominate athletic clothing. People go into the gym. We dominate tennis, whatever they dominate. They're like, we don't dominate golf. And holy fuck, look at everybody from Roback, Peter Millar, Grayson, Unreal. They're like, these guys are just doing it better than we are, and we're not going to win that game. So I think it feels like they're kind of fizzling out. They let Jason Day go. Now I did look up too on their site, like they still have Rory McIlroy, Tommy Fleetwood, Tony Finau, Brooks Koepka still does it. Nelly Korda they just signed. So like they've still clearly, they believe, I guess they've got some runway with gear. Like that certain sect of people is still buying Nike golf gear, I think. And I think they think that they probably always will, but I don't think they're trying to grow it. I don't think they're being innovative. I can't remember the last time somebody came out, Rory came out, and the internet went nuts. Like, oh, that's a fucking sick hoodie and like jogger combo that Rory has from Nike, right? Whereas like that happens with Peter Millar. We put new gear out and we go on a trip and they send us, we put on, and we get endless messages. People are like, where do I get that hoodie? That looks unbelievable. It happens with guys with other apparel companies that show up on tour with a certain outfit. And I feel like Nike never gets that bump.
Well, and think about how many of those people they can pay that you listed off now that this Tiger's money is freed up. Like that's
true.
You just push that money to them, and like you're saying, they're probably not going to try and grow in golf, but pay still a couple big names, still sell some T-shirts. But Yeah, they don't have Tiger anymore, and that's a strange world for sure.
I'm sure the numbers show that they are still a big player in the golf space. It's just for they're selling, I'd say, lower tier, lower quality shirts, right? Like for like a lower amount of money. If you go to a Dick's Sporting Goods or a PJ Superstore, you're gonna see a Nike polo on the rack, and it seems like $35 as opposed to the $60 polo from one of the higher end brands. So that might be big for them, in numbers wise. They might still be seeing that, but I don't know. I just think like we are in the golf world too. We're a major media brand in golf, and we get all these decks and meetings, and we talk about like what a PGA Superstore is seeing that's trending, and like where they see the golf world going, and like all the data that they're picking up and all this stuff. And never once have we ever compared anything that we're planning on doing when it comes to merchandise or anything to Nike. It's always been other brands. So yeah, we are an extremely small fish in the entire golf merchandise world. But you could, like, from what I've seen and from what we've seen, we've been exposed to a lot of it. We've been in meetings about merchandise. Never have we been ever compared to Nike or like trying to emulate what they're doing. It's always these other brands, the Peter Millars, Holderness and Bourne, Grayson, Unreal, like all of these fucking brands that are just like doing it better. So they must be seeing the same shit that we're seeing.
Well, I mean, originally when we started selling shirts, they were Nike golf shirts, were they not, Riggs?
They were.
I'm pretty sure they were. And then at
first one
at
we
some
did,
point,
baby.
And at a certain point, we just moved on. We're like, we want to go to a higher quality, sort of different type of apparel, and Nike didn't have it.
And it's funny, like looking back, that shirt at the time was fine, but now when you look back comparatively to all the other stuff, the Peter Millar stuff especially, and how good the collars are and how good they sit on you, it's laughable how much better they are. But at the time, you didn't really know better. And when we people are putting out a bunch of iconic photos now of Tiger in like the giant baggy pants and shirts, and like that's kind of was the best shit that there was at that time. And now here we are almost 30 years later. Things have just clearly progressed and gotten better. And I think it's got to be some kind of combo. I mean, we probably should have all seen the writing on the wall when Tiger was wearing FootJoys all year last year, which is fucking bananas as a Tiger or as a Nike athlete. But yeah, after seeing the Jason Day stuff and him coming out in the Malbon and the reaction and how just different he looks, I cannot wait to see what Tiger Woods comes out.
Yeah,
there was one time where he wore a. Do you remember this trend? He wore a Peter Millar quarter zip to the tennis US Open.
Yeah.
And he was up there fist pumping, and I actually got yelled at because we were like, we obviously we were Peter Millar guys at the time. So we were like, not even Tiger can help but wear Peter Millar or whatever. And they were like, we got in trouble because Tiger's not supposed to be wearing anything other than Nike when he's out in public. And he was fist pumping with just a sick Peter Millar quarter zip on. So yeah, I don't know I don't think I've seen him outside of that in anything other than Nike.
Do you guys think Tiger was going to wear red on Sundays with his new brand?
I was just going to talk about that. Like they can't trademark the colors red and black, I don't think. But I'm curious if, there's some apparel designer right now who's like, we got to make mock turtlenecks. Like we don't do that. They're like, well, now you do that because we've got Tiger Woods on board and he's going to be.
Do you think like he keeps calling it a new chapter? Do you think he just ends that with the Nike stuff?
The thing is, he was doing it before. He was doing it like when he won US Amateurs before he was a Nike guy.
True.
He was doing it, but
not exclusively, right? Like he won a US Am without wearing red, didn't he?
I don't know if he did.
I can't see him stopping the red and black.
What was the one where he's fist pumping it at Sawgrass on the island green?
That was he was in a striped polo that I think he would argue was red with white stripes, but it's not a clear
it's like
red
a cream
shirt,
and like it's like a creamy red.
He's wearing the hat. He's wearing like the straw hat.
That's the one I was thinking of, which is like it's definitely a stretch, but I guess he could call it red.
I think gun to his head, he tells you he's wearing red there. I really do.
I'm looking at an article right now that is Tiger Woods' 82 winning shirts, and they're all red, and they're all in Nike. I mean, this guy wore Nike every single tournament since he's been a professional. Every single one.
Yeah, it's stunning. They must have had some real bad blood towards the end to not figure this out. I think the easiest connection.
I think the shoes really were like a tipping point.
Yeah.
That's their fault. And I don't even know if it's their fault, but that's their fault. Yes. Figure out how to get Tiger Woods in a Nike shoe. I don't care what you have to do.
Honestly, take a FootJoy, scratch off the FJ, put a swoosh on it, and put it on his feet, and be like, there it is. Whoa.
We know, like they do with other stuff. We know that's happened before. We know players, including Tiger, has used other equipment and just put the logo of the company he's sponsored by on that equipment. Like, so why would they not just do that?
He must have had a falling out with someone. I mean, I don't want to speak to like what happened, but he must have had a falling out with like an executive or something where he's like, fuck these guys, I'm done. Like, because there's no other explanation. All those years, dude, he had to die. Tiger Woods is a Nike athlete. He had to be forever. It's insane.
This is a speculation-friendly show, so we can speculate heavily on
like,
this show.
Tiger Woods should have, when he's 98 years old and he dies after a full amazing life. He should have been buried in a Nike red polo. You know what I mean? Like that's him. You think that he was born in a red Nike polo. It's amazing that he's going to golf in tournaments, possibly what we think, win the Masters in just another logo. It's unfortunate.
I do think it signals the Nike golf thing is heading in a direction that, like, whatever. I don't know when the deals are up for like the Rorys and the Scotties and stuff, but I think at a certain point they're just going to be out of golf. That's what it feels like.
I think that's right, and it makes me think, like when he finally does his final old man wave on the Swilken Bridge. Like, is he gonna have some ridiculous like new age company logo on his forehead? Like, that would be, he's gotta have Nike.
No, he can't.
How's he not gonna have Nike?
We're the biggest Tiger
pictures?
guys ever. We'd have video coming out tomorrow. Tiger Woods in this new iteration of his new chapter, he needs to nail this, because if you become like an ad whore, or like all of a sudden he starts putting logos all over his chest and shit, I'm not dealing with that. Like, Tiger Woods is not
the Jim Furyk
Taylor
5-hour
Moore.
energy hat. Remember when he had that one for a couple of years?
Just everything, like different shirts and airlines and Delta on the arm, and it's just, no, I refuse to have that. At the end of the day, he's got to just make it the TW right there on the left chest, a TW on the hat, and call it a day. Just like make it an easy transition for all of us. Whatever brand wants to make it, Grayson, Peter Millar, whoever's going to win this bid of Tiger Woods, which is insane. Barstool Golf, whatever. Mm-hmm. This is going to be an insane bid for this guy. I'm sure he already has it figured out. You just make it simple on the fan, man. Wear the same stuff that you've always worn. Just change that logo. Just make it a nice TW. We'll never know the difference. Is there any
thought that he just goes out on his own and tries to create his own apparel company, or no?
I feel like that's a lot of legit, like a lot of starting something from the ground up is probably really, really like a lot of work. I would expect more that he partners with, similar to the Jordan model, where he partners with a company that already has its manufacturing and its distribution, all of that in place, and they can just make a new brand under that umbrella.
Yeah, and he gets a piece of the company or something. That, they're going to obviously, somebody's going to give him a stake in the whole deal, and then he gets another 40 years of hoping to grow that thing. So, it's an interesting chapter, but it does feel like somebody had to have dropped the ball. It's like late in a team when they got some icon who's played for the same team his whole career. It's like you really want that guy to go out only having worn that jersey. It's like I do wish Tiger Woods went out only wearing Nike. I wish that when he's 75 walking across the bridge, or he's on the 18th at Pebble with his knee out there like Jack on that wooden little fence there, that he's waving in a Nike polo, and he's just not going to be. So that's a bit of a bummer. But regardless, we've got our own Tiger Woods video coming out, which is all that I really care about. And we also have today, when the show comes out, people are going to see for the first time in an official capacity the new Qi10 driver from TaylorMade Golf, which we got to experience that same week. There's a reason that we had to sit on the video for nearly 2 months, and that's because there's an embargo on the release of the new driver. Look, nobody does it better when it comes to drivers than TaylorMade. Everyone knows that. You're looking at the best drivers and ball strikers in the history of golf. What have they been using? They've been using TaylorMade. Scottie Scheffler, he's the number one ranked player in the world, and the guy can't make a putt to save his life. And I know that because I bet on him to finish top 5 this last week. And the guy legitimately finished with a T top 5 putting like a blind person. He lost like 4.5. No offense to blind people, but he lost like 4.5 strokes a day on Saturday and Sunday putting. And the guy's still the number one ranked player in the world. He's using that. He's been using the TaylorMade driver. Rory McIlroy, probably the best driver of the golf ball in the history of the planet. We talk about it all the time. What's he used? The TaylorMade. He put in last fall, right when he got this thing, he put the QI10 in there. Tiger Woods put the QI10 in there when he was out there playing in the Hero, when he's playing in the PNC. He's got this thing because it is off the charts. The footage that TaylorMade showed us of the club and the Stealth 2, which was obviously amazing. Like we talked about, some of the best players on the planet using it and playing some of the best golf in history. That club moving when you had an off-center hit, and I mean moving when you hit it off the toe, the club almost going sideways and like turning 90 degrees because it couldn't quite sustain and have the forgiveness on an off-center hit. And then the difference between that and this new QI10 and how it basically stays perfectly square with a very toey, imperfect hit and produces a shot that is almost identical in yardage, in accuracy to a middle pure strike. This thing, I think, is going to dramatically change people's games, yours truly included. This thing has dramatically changed my driving instantly.
Yeah, it's an amazing driver, man. We've been with TaylorMade since the Sim 2, I think, was our first driver that we saw with them. And that was like a crazy jump from the Sim. And then the Stealth was such an iconic new driver that they said had never been done before. It's been tested for 20 years. The whole entire deal, they didn't know how to make this type of carbon fiber be able to essentially take on the impact of a golf ball and not just like crumble on impact, because it's such a lightweight, soft material. So they did the Stealth. They did the Stealth 2. People loving the Stealth. It was the number one driver like ever, I'm pretty sure, at that point. And then now it's like, where do you go from there? They have all this carbon technology. The QI10, the name to it is the quest for inertia of 10,000. It's a number that they've been trying to reach. And however you gauge inertia, 10,000 is like a number that they're saying would be like the ultimate number of being able to handle this inertia, which is like what we learned in this video that we're going to end up putting out, is how do you react to twist on the face and impact? How does impact affect twist? And with the Stealth, it was a carbon face and it had its original lightweight shell that it's in, the face, but that wasn't carbon. So you have carbon hitting, I guess it would be called plastic is what the other material was. And it wasn't doing exactly what they wanted. The Stealth was an incredible driver, but it's not the optimal way to make contact with a golf ball. So they show us this video of a Stealth hitting off the toe. And because that impact, you have the carbon like moving and so absorbing of this contact with the golf ball, and it's hitting this hard plate that it's sitting in. That friction and that inertia causes it to kind of sway out to the left if you're a lefty, or sway out to the right if you're a righty. The club legitimately moves on impact. They show us this 10,000 frame per second video of a ball being hit off the toe with the QI10. Now that they have all of this ability to take in this inertia, because they've added more carbon to the face plate, to the plate that's actually holding that carbon face. They have all new carbon in there that's able to absorb all of this contact. The ball gets hit off the toe, and the club stays on plane. Who does this help? People that can't hit the center of the club face. You're not getting instant pushing of the golf ball. They showed us a video that essentially Scottie Scheffler hit off the toe and it was moving. Now all of a sudden, you take an amateur that does that all the time. We're proving to you through video and through stats and through numbers that it's the greatest driver ever built. And it looks good. It's got this old school feel on the bottom where they went like retro with the four lines going across and the TW. I've seen the competition. Every company's coming out with their new clubs. I'll tell you what, TaylorMade knocked theirs out of the fucking park compared to some of these other brands. We're not going to like disparage other companies, but there's some ugly new drivers out there that you look at them, you're like, that looks dirty. Like, is that dirty or is that a new driver? I can't believe I've talked to people that have those other brands. They don't like them. Listen, this TaylorMade new driver is perfect. And they have two different versions. They got that Max, which I think Riggs has in his bag. Do you have that Max in your bag, Riggs?
Buddy, I got this Max. People can't believe how much surface area there is on this thing.
It's the biggest driver you'll ever see in your entire life.
I love it.
I've been walking around for a couple weeks with this bad boy now. I walk onto the range. People give me the old, is that new guy? Open up. They go, oh my God, it looks like you can hit this thing anywhere, because you can. That's what's awesome about it.
It's huge.
Goes.
It's huge. I personally, so like, and they make multiple versions. I couldn't do it. I couldn't switch to it. I ended up staying in the core model, which I think Danny switched to also. They've got the LS, which is a low spin. You can move the weights on the track right there. It's a low spin model. I think that's the one that Tiger Woods has been using. That's the one that the pros have been using. There's a little bit less forgiveness on it, but for weight distribution reasons, it's like the highest performing driver for the pros. Then they've got the core model, which I use. It's a Stealth 2 size. And it's got that nice shiny top with the carbon underneath the gloss. It's got a nice blue face. It's just the nicest looking driver you've ever seen. You attach that to a nice fucking shaft and you are rolling. And then they've got the Max, which when you put the Max next to the core, if you're someone that feels like the driver, you can't hit that center of the club face and you feel like you're nervous coming through the golf ball, go to a PJ Superstore. Go to your local golf club. Go wherever they're going to have these TaylorMade Qi10s and go and try one of these Maxes. You're not going to believe. It's going to look like you're hitting one of those Bam Bam like baseball bats. You know, like when you're in your backyard and everyone has like the yellow little wiffle ball bat and then someone brings in that big red Bam Bam bat and you're like, I can hit moonshots with this thing. I'm telling you, you're going to laugh. You're going to be like, is this legal? Is this a legal golf club?
And you might think with that it's like you're hitting it with like a big wiffle ball bat. Dude, I'm telling you, when I was hitting this thing on Saturday on the range, and I had two different buddies of mine that were like 4 or 5 days over. They came over. They're like, what is the sound? Who is hitting that? I was like, yeah, that's my new driver. I'm hitting there. Like, that thing sounds fucking incredible.
It's a gunshot.
And I'm hitting it, and it's launching high, far. And if you go watch the good videos that have come out, little secret, we weren't allowed to promote them in that, but I was using, we're all using the new QI. People have seen me drive it all over the planet the last 5 or 6 months. I mean, in the imposter game and all different stuff, driving it insanely better. And that was only having had this thing for like a couple weeks. So the driver has very much changed the way I've been driving the ball, just the confidence with it. And then the actual technology behind it that they showed us, it really does make you feel like, dude, I could just swing at this thing. And even if I hit it toe, heel, high or low or whatever, it's still going to move out there pretty damn similarly to when I hit it in the middle. That is such a relief for a guy like me right now. It changes everything.
Colin Morikawa used it right away. He is very, very finicky with drivers. It was not quick to switch with the other ones. He went right into the QI10.
Today's episode is brought to you by 8 Sleep, the high-tech solution to your age-old sleeping issues. This might be the advertiser that we have been waiting to talk about for the longest time, myself and Frankie included, especially Frankie. We got 8 Sleep installed into our beds over the last couple months. Oh, it truly is life-changing and completely changes your sleep in the most efficient and impressive way ever.
Oh, dude. So, I mean, I don't even know where to start. So, like, I never knew that I needed to change my sleep habits, and because I sleep pretty well, I could sleep through anything. I watch a movie. I have to sleep with the TV on. I have a nice little fan that's on our ceiling. It keeps a nice little breeze on me, and I never really think of it. During the summers, during the fall, I would get really, really hot, but I never really thought about it. You end up throwing the blanket over you, and like it's just your leg is exposed, and you start sweating. You wake up, you have sweat all over you. We get 8 Sleep sent to us because we knew that they're going to be a partner. And I throw this thing on my bed. It's a big decision. Like I have another person in the bed with me. It's their life also. They like the bed.
Sleep is important.
Sleep is incredibly important. I say, hey, I'm going to put this thing on our bed and it's going to regulate the temperature of our bed. And she's like, that sounds cool. So we put it on the bed. The setup was really fun, actually, like just like setting it up. It's all technology, the app. You got to put distilled water in it, and like it starts to shoot the water into the bed. And you're like, something's happening there. Broskis. When I tell you, bros, when you get in this bed and you set this thing, so you set it, right? And you can see my schedule. Right now it's off. You see my schedule. It starts at 69 degrees just to get the mood going. 69 degrees. Yeah, then it goes up to 76. Then at 9, and then at 90 degrees, at like 8:30 in the morning, it'll get up to 98 degrees. And that feeling of waking up in a warm bed when it's cold outside and everything is like still, like no one's walked through the house yet. Those mornings are so chilly and cold. And I know that's a late wake up for most people. A lot of people are at work by 8 or 9 o'clock. We hear that all the time. But listen, we get up at 8:30. We're ready to go by 9. That's just our job. It's just we're a joke. We're a fucking joke. That is what it is. Listen, 8 Sleep has changed my life. I'm not even kidding.
I'm
It
just
gives you
looking at
all
my
the
bed
stats.
right now.
Oh,
Look at that thing.
you're looking at it. And dude, so you have a full bed, and I could show you. I've got the half a bed because Hannah can change her. She could change her stats based off of what mine are.
I'm just full starfish in that thing, baby. That's mine. I'm right in the middle.
It keeps HRV, your score fitness, your sleep fitness score with your routine, your quality, your time slept, your sleep stages, what's your heart rate, what's your breath rate, what's your schedule consistency? Are you getting in bed at the same time? Are you waking up at the same time? Are you rolling over? You never feel sweaty. There's never that moment. You're cool. There's a sense of laying down in a cool bed from the bottom being cool. And you feel like your body, your inflammation is going down. Your back is being soothed. The bottom of your legs are being soothed. Your ankles, your feet, everything just feels like you're almost laying in like an ice bath, but it's your bed. You're just like that cooling sensation. When you put a cold compress on your body, that's such a relieving feeling. That's in your bed. And then you're getting warm. And if you don't feel good one night, you get the chills, maybe you have the flu, you bump that bed up to 103 degrees, that warm feeling of that comfort on your back and your neck. That's, oh my God, guys, when we're on the road now, I miss my bed more than I've ever missed my bed. I swear, beds just feel bland and boring and non-technical anymore. It's changed my life. I know Elon Musk used it. Mark Zuckerberg used it. I mean, come on. You need any more reason to buy this thing?
It really is life-changing. It's amazing just being able to, if you're cold, if you're hot, whatever it might be, literally just change it. You can go as low as 55 degrees or up to 110 degrees. So if you guys listening right now, go to 8sleep.com/4. You can get $200 off plus free shipping on the pod cover by 8 Sleep. Pod cover will improve your sleep by automatically adjusting your bed's temperature based on your individual needs. There's no better way to improve your two-day life than better sleep. The easiest way to do that, 8 Sleeps Pod 3. That's 8 Sleeps Pod 3. $200 off. Go to 8sleep.com/4. You get $200 off plus free shipping on the pod cover by 8 Sleep.
Scottie Scheffler, the putter is not a TaylorMade putter. Just, connect the dots. Just connect the dots there. Maybe you should give the TaylorMade putter a try.
Is it not? What is he using?
He's putted with a Scottie forever.
He kind of went to something different, I feel like, a little bit last
I think
year,
he
and then
switched
he went back.
at the beginning of this year.
No, dude, he's been trying out this Logan Olson putter. Have you heard about this?
Made a big, interesting shift. He changed to a new putter at, you're right, Logan Olson at the Hero.
Yeah, this new Logan Olson putter.
He's that new savant.
He's a new savant out in California. He's like I think he's like a late 20s, maybe early 30s putter maker, and he's like handcrafting these putters. If you go on his website, loganolson.com, they're sold out. His first version, like Logan Olson Beta 1 or whatever, completely sold out. Hand makes putters. Never was taught how to make a putter. He just got a grinder. He figured out how to, I guess he was obviously good with his hands and working and welding and all this shit. Figured out how to make a putter, never got a lesson in it ever. So whatever version of the putter that he made is just his version from his brain. And apparently they're going crazy. Putter people there's the putter community, by the way, is insane. It's the collector's items of putters. I have a buddy that's collected like 25. His brother has collected like 20 Scottie Camerons, and they have them like perfectly lined up from like the first iteration of the Scottie all the way to the new one. And you see all the different variations of it. It's crazy. Logan Olson's going to be this next guy. The first version just came out. He might come out with 100 versions. If you're in at the ground level, Logan Olson's a guy that you got to keep your eye on. I'm telling you. And Scottie, I know he hasn't been putting well. Kiz, which we'll get to, him in the booth, was talking a lot about his alignment with the shoulders open, his feet are closed.
People are going crazy for that.
His alignment's all over the place, but I mean, the guy also shifts his feet like he's in Footloose every time he takes a golf swing. So it's like, really, are you going to talk about his alignment and his mechanics?
He's a hard one.
Stevie
because
Wonder.
like, as Kiz is saying that, Kiz is like, well, it kind of points his arms this way. And I'm like, well, he's the number one player in the world, and he outstrikes the planet.
He was leading after round two. It's like,
doesn't fucking matter. He just does whatever he wants. But credit to Kiz being like, no, yeah, I imagine that Scottie knows that, and like all of us, when he gets on the course or when he's in the heat of a round, his alignment probably gets off, and you can't feel it. We've all been there before. Like somebody takes a video of your swing, and A, it looks a trillion times different than you think it looks, but B, the amount of times you're aligned so differently than you think. Like you think you're aiming left edge of the green, and you're aiming 10 yards right of the green. So alignment fucks everybody up. But that was very cool that Kiz was able to dig into that insight and be like, look, the one thing I'm seeing right now, his shoulders are aiming left, his feet look like they're lined up right, and that's just never going to be good with putting. And on cue, Scottie was missing putts, which again was costing me money down the stretch, which I fucking hated. But at least Kisner had good insight.
Yeah, I think the line that he used was, he was saying that he does it with the driver too, but you can fade a driver. You can't really fade a putt. So that's where he was drawing the line. But no, I know that's what he's working. I mean, he started working with Phil Kenyon toward the end of last year, who's like one of these putting gurus. And I know that's one of the things that they work on a lot is alignment. It's crazy how much putting is about alignment. We talked about this, Frankie, with you when you were flirting with trying right-handed. So much about putting is like being able to see and feel a straight putt. And if your feet are one way and your shoulders the other way, you just got a bunch of different lines going on. Whereas like you want everything to be as square as possible so you can see the straight putt.
We've got that video out from the Dominican Republic when we went to Casa de Campo, and I shot 37. And watching that back in the 1v1v1, watching that back and seeing how horrifically lined up I was for some putts. On the ninth hole, there's a putt that I pushed so bad, I think it missed by 2 feet left. Like it never actually had a chance. And you go back thinking like, that's a 34 if I'm draining like 8-footers and 9-footers. You know what I mean? Like if I'm a legitimate golfer, the way I'm hitting those fairways and those greens, that might be a 34. It might be a 2-under round. So it's a 37. You throw out 3 strokes. For
it was fucking windy and hard out there too. It was
but
like, that was not
man.
easy.
Just like Kiz is saying, like you're setting yourself up to really miss it before you even make contact. Obviously Scottie can figure it out because he's got the hands of Jesus. But like at the end of the day, for me, I can't do it. So I'm going to miss 90% of them.
Kiz said something very interesting when they were asking him, and he said that little tidbit, and then they kind of followed up, hoping Kiz would go deeper into it. And he basically said, he's like, everybody makes fun of me when I use the space boots and all that. He's like, but with putting, pretty much the only thing I practice is alignment. He's like, because it's not much of a move. Like you don't really do anything else. You kind of have your little putting motion. Sure, you could try to refine it and all that, obviously, but for the most part, if you've got a putting motion like almost everybody on tour has, which is pretty much straight back, straight through, it doesn't go that wrong. He's like, the only thing you really ever need to practice is make sure you're lined up properly because you're going to read the greens. They've got the books and they know all the stuff. He's like, for the most part, you're going to know what the putts do. If you just line up properly, you're pretty much going to make it. If you don't, you're going to miss. And it made it sound so simple as he was saying it. And I imagine like that part of the game must be so interesting for Kiz to analyze and respond to that because it's so hard to do what Scottie does that literally no one else on earth does it as well as he does, which is hit the ball insanely well, hitting high draws, fades, having all the shots, and then just not be able to roll the ball into the hole. And Kiz can just always roll the ball into the hole, no problem. He doesn't put that much into it. He kind of just walks up to the green, looks at it quick, and just rolls it in every fucking time. So it must be a weird mindset for him to feel that way and then watch Scottie feet flying all over the planet and hits it better than anyone on earth, and it's not even close. It's weird. It's just kind of weird.
It is. But Qi10, baby. He was hitting that thing like a mother. Just like a mother.
That thing
led the field in strokes gained tee to green, which he does like at least half his starts.
Dialed. And I know people are going to listen to him and be like, they're TaylorMade guys and everyone else is other guys and all these brands are like, but that's all we're exposed to. And obviously we're going to be pretty passionate about these drivers because like we've seen we saw them unveil them to us in like an amazing way. You'll see the video, like they're like underneath these like cloaks and we're basically like unveiling them and they show us the video of how they're made. And we're seeing that it's an amazing driver. So like, we're not trying to steer you wrong just to like buy the driver that we're sponsored by or whatever. It's an amazing, amazing driver that clearly the best in the world are using. So just go try it. It's the least you could do is go to your local store. They're going to have them in stock. Make sure you go and try it. Look online. Look at all the behind the scenes videos and all the specs that go into it. It's amazing. TaylorMade's just leading the way, and they have to because of all the competition. So it's amazing. It's an amazing driver.
Yeah, I'm driving it way better. That's just a fact. So if you don't believe in facts, then we can't really help you. Jersey Jerry, shout out to Jersey Jerry. Last time we did the show, we had a lot of predictions. We were throwing math at you. We weren't sure he was ever going to do it. He did switch from a way harder shot to a much easier shot. Having said all of that, I still thought once he switched to the pebble, 7th hole at pebble, it's like, man, if you really look at the numbers, the stats, Jerry doesn't play a ton of golf. He's getting more and more tired. His body's going to fall apart. Anybody's would. I don't know that he's going to do it. It took him 2,627 swings. He had some insane near misses that you wouldn't believe. He started to, I imagine, feel an unbelievable amount of pressure because the entire world got behind this. There are going to be marketing people for the next 2 or 3 years that are going to lose their jobs because they're going to be put in meetings and they're going to be put with this in front of them that got $3.5 million worth of impressions. And they're going to say, all right, marketing person, what do you got for us? And they're going to say, well, we need to spend $500,000 in production, and we're going to need to release all this stuff over that. And they're not going to get a fucking dollar back in impressions. And here Jersey Jerry woke up one day and said, you know what? There's a golf simulator in this office. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to try to get a hole-in-one. I'm not going to fucking leave until I do get a hole-in-one. And it took over the world in a way that I've never seen. It was the number one trending thing on the planet Earth on Twitter. PGA Tour, shout out to them leaning in. You could tell at the beginning of the year, everybody in the social media department at every fucking company and every organization in the world came off that break feeling hot and ready. Their New Year's resolution to just crush their job because they were all leaning into it. We had the PGA Tour went out there.
Golf Digest.
They got everybody from Max Homa, everybody. Golf Digest put Jersey Jerry on the cover. We saw the Pebble Beach person ran out to the 7th green and wrote his fucking name on the flag and the whole
That was
deal.
insane.
Everybody was leaning into it, which it was so cool
Tom
to
Brady.
see. So, Tom Brady's
He was the
tweet,
perfect
and then
person for it.
right afterwards. Oh,
He was
my
the perfect
God, it was
person
amazing.
for it. Like
It was
he's gritty, man. He's gritty,
Bully.
and everyone could identify with him. And he doesn't have the perfect golf swing, and he's not wearing, tailored clothes head to toe. He's the everyman, and everyone got behind it because they saw themselves in Jersey Jerry, and he's just funny as fuck. The rant about I should have stayed in the union. I could have had an honest living with a pension.
Should have had an honest job with a fucking pension, not doing any of this bullshit. And he was real mad at that point. That was like 3 a.m. screaming at Big Cat mad.
It was just like he was because there was no one else who everyone could identify with, and also who was gonna do it. He wasn't gonna give up. Like to stay in there. I mean, his body must have felt so incredibly horrendous, but he stuck at it because he's a union man till he dies, and he got it done. And it was just like an everybody come together moment. It was awesome.
I was stunned when he was able to swing after he woke up because he had to be the most sore individual on planet Earth. We talked about it while it was ongoing on last week's episode, where it was like you go to the range for a couple hours, hit maybe 200 balls, and you're sore the next day. He swung 1,800 times, went to bed, woke up, and started swinging immediately again. I don't know if I could have done that. So yeah, shout out to Jersey Jerry. Really, the internet really came together. I know George Kittle was wearing the shirt yesterday. TJ Watt showed up in a bully hoodie to the football game. Like, it was just one of those moments, man. One of those moments.
I feel empty inside that we don't have it anymore. I tweeted that the other day. Like, it became such a part of my life to just watch that guy try and make a hole-in-one. Three straight days, right? It started on Tuesday at night, and it ended on Thursday afternoon. And it's just, you can't believe he was still there. And I went to sleep with him on Wednesday night. I basically had it on the YouTube, and me and Hannah went to bed, and Jersey Jerry was on the screen. And it was just that, like, that was part of my life, man. Like, that was I missed it when he put it in. Like, I wanted more of it. And that's when you've got something really special. It took over the world. He's the perfect guy to do it. No one can replicate it. I was supposed to go out there. I regretted not being out there when he did it, but I even I texted him. I'm like, it's got to be you. When he asked me to fly out there, he was having people hit for him. If you guys noticed in the beginning, on Wednesday morning, he was having people attempt it for him. Jake and Hank and Big Cat were like, if we get this, you're done. And that was like the idea. And then it got to the point, and Big Cat was the one who pulled the trigger, where he's like, it's you now, man. Like, we've gone 24 hours. You got to make this, and you alone. And I agree. Like, I don't know how he woke up that next day, because when you shut it down, dude, if you go golf, if he golfed like 36 rounds or something like that in a row, right? And that's without putting. Whatever the number is. What's the number? What's 2,000? Do the math.
Dude.
Do the math on.
It's too many.
Do the math on. How many swings did he have? 2,000.
Let's say a guy at his level takes 70 swings per round.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say. You have to find the amount of swings.
What was the number that he did it in?
24, 27, I think. By 70. No. So he played, 35
rounds of golf.
Yeah, whatever.
37 rounds of golf of averaging 70. 37 rounds of golf in a row. Imagine, think about how sore you are when you're on a golf trip and you play 36. You're dead.
Dogs are barking.
2 rounds. Yes. 2 rounds. 2. We're talking 37, right?
Crazy.
He had finished probably 33 right in a row without sleeping.
Right.
To shut it down, wake up, and play another 5 or 6 rounds is fucking psychotic. I mean, shout out to the chiropractor who got him straight, and the IV woman that got him straight. Shout out to Big Cat for being there with him the entire time. Like, I mean, those guys really motivated him. Hank motivated him. It was a team win over there in Chicago, and yeah, I loved every single second of it. I started to lose my mind because I felt like he wasn't going to get it. He was making the same mistake every single time, and it's our fault, right? Like, people said we should have been there, and he had no one that knew how to run that simulator there. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't understand why he was missing. He hit on that Wednesday night and Thursday morning. He must have hit at one point, and I was laughing with my buddies. He turned into like a scratch golfer. Did you see how many shots he was hitting around the pin, like in a row? Like, he was mad he wasn't getting a hole in one. At one point, he hit like 100 shots to 5 feet in a row, like 100.
Off to the left of the hole, you could throw a blanket over those balls. Like, they were all in the same area.
Bro,
same area.
Finally, so Big Cat was texting me during it, and I texted him and I said, Big Cat, move that. And I know it's going to take an extra movement each time, which people are not giving him credit for either. Jerry hit mulligan with his hand 2,647 times.
He just said again.
It's an extra movement of the arm. Think about that. That's insane to not have that automized
every time.
So he called me and I said, for the love of God, and I know it's going to add another movement, move that fucking cursor to the right, because you're not understanding the way it works. The simulator is acting based off of swing speed, ball contact, and spin rate of the golf ball. So it's taking all that information onto the screen, but it's also acting as though you're aiming exactly down the middle of the fucking screen. You're not giving any leeway to move left or right if you're aimed right down the middle. You're always going to miss. You'd have to hit a perfect ball with no spin and you know what I'm saying? It'd have to be perfect impact to go dead straight. And it was Pebble Beach, hole 7. There was a 3-mile-an-hour wind right to left. So even if he hit it perfectly, it was getting pushed to the left every time, right? So I said, please, for the love of God, move to the right. I think 25 swings later, after the Tom Brady thing came in, hole in one. He was that dialed in that he was around the hole that all he needed was a little bit of a click. That guy might be the best pitching wedge player of all time now after hitting 2,000. He was on his way to the 10,000.
Improving in golf? Is that the secret to improving in golf? Just hit 2,000. Yeah, just hit 2,000 balls in a row and you'll be good.
10,000 hours. Okay, well, this guy was approaching 10,000 hours of fucking trying this thing, and you know, he became a better golfer for it. Became a better man for it. He is. It was a huge week for Jersey Jerry. He's got over 100,000 subscribers. He started that thing with 30. It's just fucking phenomenal. I could not be happier for him. And we've loved Jersey Jerry in the golf space. We've had him on 6 videos at this point. We knew that this guy was going to be a superstar in golf. He's just cemented himself. You can't, and someone tweeted, you can't talk golf without talking Jersey Jerry now. His name is cemented in the history of this version of golf. Like the new age version of golf, Jersey Jerry has a place in history. That's something that we can't even like wrap our heads around.
Yeah, it's like with the football thing. It's like deciding if a guy gets in the Hall of Fame. Can you tell the story of football without telling this guy's name?
You can't.
You cannot tell the story of golf without at least mentioning Gerard.
I think Riggs makes a good point. Like not only is he going to be like in World of Golf, but like he's going to be like a study piece in like colleges and marketing. I'm not even kidding. I really do.
Oh
think
yeah,
so.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I think that like professors will talk about that and be like, this is how the new age of like multimedia works. And like, if you want to get something across to people, this is how you do it.
How long until there's a Barstool class at Harvard MBA that is Call Her Daddy saga? The Jersey
Dave
Jerry
Portnoy.
media hype, you know, just the Dave Portnoy experience. You could teach a whole class on this company.
Well, that's really whole thing is Barstool at its best, where you get everybody behind it, a guy doing something that's crazy. You get a great content guy like Jerry. If it all clicks, like all of the traditional media outlets and whatever they would think is the future, whatever they think they're doing is correct, they're doing it wrong because they don't have that engine where it's like, first of all, you need an office that has a simulator. You need a guy like Jerry. You need a guy like Big Cat. You need a guy like Dave. You need all of us who have amassed our own followings to then be tweeting about it. And it wasn't like Jerry put out an email a couple of days before being like, hey guys, I'm going to do this hole-in-one challenge. If you could promote it, that would be great. There's no planning really. It's just all of this stuff coming together. And it's really, Barstool is the only place that you can do it. It's the only place.
And I think it really does need to be around something that is completely meaningless. I think that in today's world is unbelievably important because we watch people bitch and moan if you tune into anything, if you read any article, if you go to any headlines, it is people fighting over stuff that they deem and probably is incredibly serious stuff that is like geopolitical, or in the golf world with Brandel and Eamon, that is about human rights violations. And if you look at Dave Portnoy with like the 6, 12, 18, 24 challenge, like that went crazy viral. It was literally if you could like eat X amount of donuts and jerk off enough times in one day. And like the Jersey Jerry
that challenge is so crazy, by the way. I don't know what the right decision for that is.
I don't know.
What's the
6, 12, 18, 24, I think it is. It's donuts eaten, beers drank, miles ran and jerk
you have
off.
to choose like 6 you'll do miles, 8 you'll do
you have to pick the right combination.
You have to pick your own.
My dick is sore just thinking about that.
It's undoubtedly 6 jerk offs. You can't do more than 6.
I don't think
you
can do more than
your
6
poor thing
in
will become
24
this one big
hours.
scab.
6 is like a crazy task. 6
Yeah,
is
it's
crazy task.
Yeah, 6
12
is
would
nuts.
be like 12 is like you're milking it to the point where it's like you're just
shooting
like,
blanks. You're shooting blanks.
You're crying at the end, right?
There might be blood
You don't
involved
even
if
like
you're
it.
doing more than
You
6.
don't even like it.
You're like your dick is just crying at like in order to you're not even getting there's nothing squirting out of there. You're
It's
just kinda
probably
crying out of
24
there.
donuts, and you just like puke and like shit all day. It's just 24 donuts. It's probably 12 miles and 18 beers.
How are you going to do 12 miles and 18 beers in one day?
I don't know. Oh,
Did he do it?
Do 18? No. He tried to jerk off. He said he just couldn't. He couldn't get past
But
like
Riggs,
4.
You bring up a good point. It has no meaning. It's like there's no real stakes. I mean, they are like you watch the Jersey Jerry thing and you're like, there are stakes. We want this guy to make a hole-in-one, but you get down to it and it's just people having fun. There's no real like this is how I feel about it. It's just like, oh, it's fucking interesting.
That's how you bring people together these days when everything is so serious. Is you need that to be like, we can all get behind this.
Right.
Well, right, and it wasn't like it's not some game show where they were playing for $5 million for first play. Right? It was literally Jersey Jerry had set out a personal task of I'm going to get a hole-in-one on this fucking simulator, and I'm not going to stop until I do it. And everyone just rallies around that, and it really did make me think of like, man, you just don't need real stakes. You need some little task that your brain says, I'm not stopping until I get this, and everybody can rally around that. So credit to Jerry. That's going to be one of the great most studied marketing schemes that was in no way a marketing scheme. It just happened in the history of the internet, and it was dominant. It was everything that's Barstool. It was awesome. Your hair may grow fast, but after going to Sport Clips haircuts, you'll wish it grew even faster. That is because Sport Clips has the best seats in hair, and that may or may not be because they happen to be right in front of TVs playing sports all day, every day. We know that watching sports while getting a haircut sure beats watching your own reflection get a haircut. That is why at Sport Clips, every day is clippers and curveballs, high tops and Hail Marys, and even waves and wickets if you're into that kind of thing. This is where we go. We go to Sport Clips because Sport Clips does it right. Ladies and gentlemen.
Speaking of wickets, is wickets cricket?
I think so.
I got reached out to. I did that whole Ireland thing, and I got reached out to by a cricket player on the Ireland team, like the official Ireland cricket team. He's like, would love to play golf with you at this place that the Open's going to be at in 5 years, and you and your dad. I want you to come to a cricket match, and then they're playing in Long Island. Then in a couple months they're playing against India at Eisner Park, whatever. But wickets just made me think of that. It's incredible. I think I'm going to do that
right through the wickets
over there.
You have a pen pal.
He went right through the wickets.
I have a pen pal. Yeah, we've been going back and forth. Also, thank you to everyone that's reached out to me. If you're listening to this advertisement, while you also were one of the people in Ireland that messaged me, thank you very much. Very nice people, amazing itineraries. I went to a Sport Clips. I got faded up. Look at
Let's
this.
see it.
Look, you like,
Whoa!
Wow.
yeah, you guys
Faded
like
up.
that shit? Look
You
at
look
that.
good.
Nice little fade.
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
I got
faded up
the
for
Ryder
Premier
Ryder
League soccer.
It's a little more
Premier League
avant-garde
soccer.
than you usually go with your haircut.
Totally. My guy, his name was Elicio at Sport Clips, and he got me dialed up. He got me going. He gave me a little flare here on the left. Usually I like that nice and tight, but he gave me a little room to work with there. And then he
You
kind of
look
pushed me
great.
all-
You look
I appreciate
damn good.
that. Yeah, I
That's
appreciate
beautiful.
that.
Sport clips,
It's
man.
sport clips for you. Alicio at Sport Clips. I got a local Sport Clips here on Long Island, and we got it dialed in. They're the best of men's hair. They are the all-stars.
At Sport Clips, you can check in with the pros in men's hair and totally check out with pure, uninterrupted relaxation. So yeah, come watch an endless stream of sports on TV while getting an awesome haircut. Sport Clips, it's a game changer. On the complete other end of the spectrum, we have Patrick Reed in his lawsuit where he was seeking $1 billion in damage, $1 billion against 18 journalists and news organizations, alleging that the army of voices had been defaming him since he was 23 years old with the goal to, quote, destroy his reputation, unquote, in a way that cost him, quote, multi-million-dollar sponsorship deals, unquote, and resulted in him being terminated by the PGA Tour. In his decision this last Saturday, Judge Corrigan ruled the defendants were not only victorious in the ruling, but that they're also awarded attorneys' fees under Florida's anti-SALPP statute, a law designed to discourage using the legal system as a means of harassing one's enemies and critics. So Patrick Reed will be writing checks to Randall, Eamon, 16 other folks
Shane Ryan
for all of their legal
Bro.
fees. Shane Ryan.
If there was
for this
ever
entire
an
thing.
event that needed to be televised, it's probably Jersey Jerry Hole in One, the Super Bowl because we all love it, and Patrick Reed handing over a check to Brandel Chambly live on some streaming platform. I would watch that over and over and over again. That is an incredible thing for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Brandel took a immediate victory lap. Did you see that?
You have to.
Like you could tell that he was
got to.
definitely like told by your lawyers, you got ongoing like not legislation, you have ongoing lawsuit, like be quiet, don't talk about this, like just leave it alone. As soon as they win, he goes on there, he goes, well, he's been bought, so you can't blame him for, thinking that that rights don't matter. He went right away. He's like, I beat this motherfucker and I'm going to take my victory lap.
Yeah. You got to. I also saw to further kind of explain it, Corrigan stated that Reed brought no viable defamation claims in his original and amended complaint, and that his lawsuits were brought primarily because defendants exercised the constitutional right of free speech in their publications about Reed as a public figure, which I will say the reason I highlighted that's good for this show. I don't want to get sued. I don't want to have to go through all this stuff. Who knows what we say on this show? I don't think about it. I don't really remember it. I don't really put a ton of, like I said, this is sort of a speculation show more than it is a show rooted in fact and research. And so this is, I think, good for us going forward.
It's also incredible, and I didn't know that this was included in the law, and it sounds like it might just be Florida, and it's probably some other places, where if you try to abuse the law, the defamation law, it can come back on you. Like, I would have thought that if it didn't come to be, it's just like, all right, we're dropping the lawsuit. It actually goes further and says you have to pay these people that you tried to fuck over and say were defaming you. That I think is a great little wrinkle in that
Yeah,
law.
I like that. I like it.
Yeah.
Like Rick said, that's the deterrent. That's the deterrent to stop, everybody from suing everybody.
Correct.
Well,
it makes
yeah,
sense
because
too,
if you're
because
just
if I
way
tell
richer than
you-
other people, you can just
Right.
bury them. Sorry, Frankie, but like you can just bury them. You could just say, if you're just annoyed by them, you can ruin their life by being like, I'm going to sue you over and
100%.
over again. And they have to pay so much in legal fees to stop
what it
themselves
is.
from going to, it's like, that sucks.
That's
and
a beautiful thing. I think it's a
you-
beautiful law.
That's a good
But
thing.
it has
Legal
to be
fees,
there
legal fees are no
because-
joke. They brought down the PGA Tour. Legal fees are no joke.
Yeah, the legal fees
Yeah.
alone. Like if I'm saying I think that you did this and now I'm forcing you to go get a lawyer, you have to be on the hook for me having to go get that lawyer. I wouldn't have had to
Yeah.
purchase that had you not brought this to my table. So like that's on you now. You better hope that you win or else this is on like me having to
True.
go through this is now on you.
You do hear this in like a different way that it's not a law, but it's basically like when there is a settlement, it's like you got my legal fees too. You have to cover those because
You're the reason why I hired them.
100%. You
Like,
put me
we
through
wouldn't
that.
be
It's
in this-
fucking
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah.
Right, which if that's hundreds of thousands of dollars, like people can't pay that. Are you fucking kidding me? And you
Well,
got
I have
you
a
have
theory
to
that
win.
Patrick Reed doesn't even know what's going on. I
agree with
I think
that.
there's a chance that he's
Well-
just like, what do you mean? Like, I think his wife is at the wheel. He's got this quack job lawyer. If you look up Larry Klayman, he has sued everybody on the planet and then like hasn't won anything. And because remember when the whole Teagate thing happened, Rory was like, when I think he flicked a tee at Rory. Rory was like, I'm living in
Was that when
reality. This guy
Dubai
served me
happened?
a subpoena on fucking Christmas Eve, and he tries to come over and talk to me. I think the thing that they don't know there is that Patrick like legitimately has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, that's always been our discussion. It's one of two things. It's he's very aware and he knows what's going on and like is like, yeah, let's sue all these people. Or he is living in such a bubble with his wife and everyone that he's put around him where he has no idea and he just thinks that what these things that the people are saying are true. So he's got a very strange existence.
I think he just goes, he hits golf ball, he practices, and while he's out there practicing, which his wife requires him to do for like 10 hours straight, she's in there filing all of these lawsuits, and he comes back in and is like ready for dinner. I don't think he like fucking knows what's going on. Again,
I can love you again. You're a winner, Ricky Bobby. I can love you again. Dude, he's sitting at the dinner table and she's just fucking roasting him.
This is the full swing like gold mine. If you could ever get inside there, I mean, you would really get like the drama. You would hit every fan base of like what's going on with his wife and him and she does what and is running his life. Like if they could get that episode, that would be gangbusters.
Let's text Chad and Mom real quick. Have you guys thought about getting in the Patrick Reed's dinner table? Have you guys considered throwing a couple cameras in there? I can't imagine that goes.
What's the latest on that Will Ferrell golf like comedy that was supposed to be coming out?
Oh, yeah.
It was on hold. Right? It was major on hold because of all the strikes. I know that there was like I don't know if they're launching it again, but I know that it kind of like it went on hold big time. Everything went on hold. They weren't making any shows for a long time.
Right.
Chris Kirk wins the Sentry Tournament of Champions. $3.6 million he won for that victory out there, where they just go frolic around in Hawaii with like 50 players in the field. Boy, that really tells you how much the landscape has changed, and in my opinion, how much of a house of cards this entire thing is. The fact that he won $3.6 million for winning that event. He clearly earned it. He was 29 under par or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's with one of the rounds. The win was actually there. The other three, it really wasn't. But he played incredible. He teed off with the lead and then played pretty much flawlessly. He kind of slowed a little bit there and allowed Sahith and Spieth to kind of catch him and then hit the shot of the tournament on 17. That kind of right pin on that shelf, he hit it to like a foot. And all he had to do was make a par coming down on 18, which is the easiest hole in the course, even though it's almost 700 yards long. Very fun course to watch. We talk about it every year, but it's a core Crenshaw. It's a par 73, and there's a bunch of par fives that are reachable. So it's really like a par, 69 for these guys. So everybody sees 29 under and you think crazy. But if you took 4 shots off a day, so that would be 16 or so less is kind of what it would be to par. Then he's 13 under or something like that. So it really teaches you, like around the U.S. Open, for example, they take a 540-yard par 5, make it a par 4. They do that 2 or 3 times 4 rounds. All of a sudden, we're all like, oh, my God, that guy won at 4 under, when in reality, he was probably 12 under, but they just kind of changed the par of the course. This course does it the exact opposite for this event, and so people kind of freak out that people are 30 under par, but end of the day, it's a very fun tournament to watch. If they don't get wind, like they said, it was blowing 30 on like Tuesday or Wednesday. You were out there, Dan. But then, throughout, again, I think it was Thursday, Friday, and Sunday round, there was very, very minimal wind, and these guys kind of light it up. But, it kind of come to know what to expect at this thing. Chris Kirk was pretty much unstoppable out there. His 6th PGA Tour win, that seemed very high for me. I know he had the drought, and he had the alcoholism and depression where he took some time off, and then this is he's come back. He's won a couple times now, which is always a phenomenal story. I saw Todd Lewis, credit to him, he was trying to do his best Dan Rappaport and get him to cry up there post round. I don't think that he did, but he was pretty close and emotional, which is always cool to see. Seems like a good dude. So it's a good story.
I think this is the year of Sahith Theegala. He finished solo second. He shot 63 on Sunday, but the big reason why I say that is off the tee. So the weakness in Sahith's game since forever has been the driver. He talked about it on our show where he's like, if I can just hit it anywhere straight, I like my chances. He gained 1.8 shots off the tee this week, which is for him is like a fucking unbelievable performance. So if that guy can figure out the driver and hit that kind of flat cut that he was hitting all day on Sunday, his irons and his short game are so damn good that I think he's going to have a massive, massive year. I think he's going to make the President's Cup team this year. Spieth was in the mix, which is always super fun. Probably Kisner's best line of the weekend. Jordan misses a 3-foot putt on Saturday, and he's like, hill and the grain is going left, wind is going right. And he goes, it's just 3 feet, Jordan, just knock it in. So we got a little bit of the Spieth roller coaster. It was a good week. It was definitely a little bit flat. Wasn't the best finish of the year to start out, especially with all those big names there. But $3.6 million. You're right. When you watch that tournament and you watch the fans or the lack of the fans there, it wasn't even on NBC. It was on Golf Channel. to finish because football was kind of in the NBC universe. Just didn't really feel like a $3.6 million win, but take the money if it's there.
Yeah, Sahith rattled off like 5 birdies out of 6 holes coming down the stretch on 18. Like that's just, if you've got that in you in a tournament that you're trying to charge back and win for that much money on that type of golf course, like with that field too, with Spieth in the mix, yeah, he's destined for some cash this year. Theegala, I mean, he's just got it in him. If you can get that hot, you can get that hot at any time. Like if you have that in you, he was raining birdies in like they were nothing.
Yeah, right in the middle too, like pouring the putts in. Yeah,
oh
putting,
my God.
Dude. Oh, it's perfect speed. He looks confident. It's like he's so comfortable and relaxed over it, even down the stretch. Like Frankie's saying, that just shows me a lot. Like if you've got it there, a lot of guys can get close. They can play really good golf on Thursday, Friday, whatever. For him to do that down the stretch in the first event of the year tells you and coming off a win in the fall, like it tells you I'm with you, Dan. I think he's right there. He's such a fan favorite. He's got that charisma. He's got that likability. So if he could kind of vault up towards the top this year in the PGA Tour, I think that'd be fucking great for the tour. He's like one of the good guys. He obviously was featured on Full Swing last year, so a lot to like about him. Spieth playing incredibly well. I thought that was great. It's so fun to watch him when he gets bad breaks. I'm sorry, Spieth, but like on the 16th when his ball just absolutely zero reason it should plug. It flies from a driver swing into a fairway bunker, plugs into the lip, and they just catch him. They did a great job of this. Now I don't know if they're just getting better mics or something, but they pretty much captured every player caddy conversation. And the best part is you can tell when they don't think that they're being captured at all. And you heard him being like, "What is that? What is that, Michael? 5 driver swings now in the last 5 tournament rounds that have plugged in fairway bunkers. How is that even possible?" I heard it. Oh, let's go! So it's so just good. A roller coaster to watch. I love watching him.
It's so good.
He hacked out an unbelievable hack out, and then it almost went into a divot, which I was like, no offense to Jordan, like nobody really cares who wins this fucking tournament. So I was rooting forward to go into that divot just to see another meltdown. But he seems to be playing well, which is better for golf. So yeah. Kiz, I thought Kiz was great. He was predictably great. I thought his insight, like we talked about on Scottie, them able to just go right to him in a much more direct fashion because he is a contemporary of the guys out there, I thought was a huge bonus to the coverage, and they did it a lot. And it was a little bit tough for John Wood and for some of the guys to basically like defer to Kiz because they're kind of the guys that are like in there, and they're kind of the guys that have been known as the guys that are like green side, and instead they kind of had to learn to like throw it to Kiz because Kiz like played in the tournament in the last couple of years and is playing next week and literally stands on the range with these guys and hits balls with them, plays practice rounds with them. So I thought they did a good job of that. That's probably not that easy for them. And I thought Kiz was great. He didn't curse, which was great. He almost did when he did the see woo shaking that, and then he just was like, I guess we can't say that. So I thought he was great predictably. I also thought he made it pretty clear, like this isn't a permanent thing. He's going to be playing golf.
Yeah, he definitely I actually ran into him at the hotel bar on Wednesday night, and he was like, yeah, they just asked me if I could do 2 events. So I don't think he's given up playing. I don't think they're really considering him for the full time. We're going to keep giving credit to the broadcast as the only, golf media entity that does that. They had some really cool graphics. There was this graphic, especially on that par 5 on the back 9, it's like 15, where they had, basically it's a hole where the fairway slopes to the right, and if you hit it down the right side, kind of takes a slope and goes another like 30 yards. And they had, instead of just like the target line, they had 3 different target lines. One of them was like the safe shot, which was like stay up on the hill. One of them is the ideal one. And one of them was the shortcut. And they had all 3 of those hooked up with the top tracer. So you could see when the guy hit it, exactly what line he was taking. They knew where it was going to end up. There was also some cool graphics about like where they should aim, kind of going back to your Scott Fawcett stuff about not aiming at the flag, aiming in the middle of the green. They showed Dispersion, Frankie's spiritual leader and guider, best friend. So I thought the broadcast was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I thought NBC stepped it up.
I still think when Scott Fawcett told me about that Venn diagram on that one hole, whether I should hit a 7 or an 8 iron, is the greatest like piece of information I've ever gotten about the mental golf game. Of like, or not the mental golf game, but like your approach to hitting
course management.
Ball.
Like, yeah.
Where he said if I was 165 yards away or 62 or whatever, and my 8 iron, if I hit it 100%, can go 162 yards. He shows me the Venn diagram of the circle going around the hole, and it just barely covers the back of the hole, but also covers all the nonsense in front, the bunker, the rough, everything. Then the 7-iron, he goes, where's that? I go, it goes from like 160 to 172 if I like hit a good one. Okay, now let's look at the circle. And it was the whole green, back of the green, front of the green, and the hole was dead in the middle. He said, if you hit it 100% perfect, you're in the back of the green, maybe you hit it a little too far. If you hit it just a little bit off, you're just on the front. But if you hit like a good 7-iron, you're right on the stick. I was like,
we talked about this, Riggs, in Bahamas. We talked about this with the Wheel of Not Ideal that's coming out eventually, where we were like talking about like, man, like sometimes, because we had to hit shots that were not at all stock shots.
Not ideal.
Like, this is not, we can do this. Like, we can adjust this. We can just take more club and swing easy. Like, that's okay. There's no rule that you have to hit everything full.
Yeah, and there's a big part of me too that's learning. Like, when we started doing the show, I was like 28, and now I'm 36. It's like I'm just older and weaker than I was. So it's like part of you thinks, for whatever reason, in my head still sometimes I think like, okay, I've got high 150s. It's an 8-iron. I'm like, no, dude, it's a 7-iron probably. And now for me, like if I don't hit it perfect, I might want to consider a fucking 6-iron and just hit it into the middle back part of the green and know you can get there, instead of like we've all been there as amateurs standing there being like, when you pick a club that there's a good chance this isn't going to get there. You know that. Like we all think that all the time. And like, why are you hitting that club? Why not just grab another one? And it was I feel like Harry Higgs was the other time, Frankie, where we really got that when we did that TaylorMade Media Day like 2 years ago with him, and he was doing the field goal thing, and he was like, dude, your ideal target line should actually be 30 feet left of it, because even though that field goal includes the left fringe and even a little bit of the left rough, that's so much better than that right bunker. And you're like, oh shit, I would have never thought of that. I just aim right at the flag.
Yeah.
And so like that course management stuff it's amazing how bad we are at that.
I honestly credit a lot of like my game has improved on hitting greens, and I think it was that when he said that something clicked, and now subconsciously I don't even like I have added a club to every single thought decision just subconsciously without even thinking. Like my yardages have changed based off of that idea. So like now like I'm automatically going with that 7 instead of the 8, and I'm not even thinking twice. Yeah. Like I've like, it's like he's wiped my brain clean and he's like made me think like back of the green numbers. You know what I mean? Like that's all I'm thinking now. And it makes you swing softer. It makes you more dialed in. It makes you feel like you're actually like doing something, like you're cutting it into the green with like I like that feeling of like sawing off a 7 into the green as opposed to like nutting a 8 or a 9. Like I could barely get there. I used to do that so much, dude. I would take like a 9 from 158 and just fucking like swing as hard as I can and just try and get it there.
Yeah, when you're young, you want to tell people how far you hit a club. And now that we've played it, it's like, oh, I can hit my 9-iron 150. Now that we've played it on, it's like when you see a guy take out an 8-iron and like carve a little cut in there, that's even cooler than seeing just like a new 7. Yeah,
so what's really cool? Hitting the fucking green, dude. Hitting the green is so cool.
Colin Morikawa put up 2 Instagram stories back-to-back days. Did you see that? Where he shows his. He shows his take back. He goes, "This was a draw, and I made a par." And then the next day, it was like, "This was a cut," and the same take back, and I made a birdie. Like cuts only from now on. It's just like even those guys like are saying like, "Oh, cuts are boring, draws are cool. You can pierce them through the wind, and they look better." No, like what performs better? Just do it.
Yep. The other thing I loved from the coverage was that drone camera on 18 that followed the golf ball. I thought that was the highlight of the week for me of the coverage, because they do. Especially at Kapalua, the ball rolls forever after they hit it, and especially on the 18th. But the only way they can really show the ball rolling is they zoom super in on it, which is what we hate about putts when they zoom way in on putts, because you lose perspective of the putt. You kind of just, all they do by that is narrow everything into like a ball within 3 feet of a hole, which is just boring. Everything looks the same. When they were able to follow the ball down the 18th fairway with the drone, it showed the fucking ocean in the background and the approach shot that they were facing, and you could watch the ball right in front of the drone rolling and seeing if it missed divots and stuff. So that, I thought that was awesome. I can't even imagine how hard that is to get. Not only someone has to be good enough to fly a drone to follow a little golf ball in real time, but also to have the proper connection and everything and camera in there to have it match the high definition coverage of the TV. That's a drone following a golf ball on the ground. Was like, I loved that. So I thought that was harder to do probably than it looked like. So you always kind of see him trying out new stuff. They had the giant leaderboard, which I actually didn't love. I thought that was overwhelming. Did you see that when they came in like 30 names on one leaderboard?
Yeah.
I didn't love that. I thought that was like kind of ridiculous.
That's a live move.
Yeah, it did look live-ish, and I just it was just show me the top 10 guys or whatever. It's pretty straightforward. But yeah, it was a good week. Cars.com is a leading digital marketplace that connects car shoppers with their perfect car. They're celebrating 25 years of helping shoppers research, find inventory, finance, and sell cars. So wherever life takes you next and whoever you're looking to be, there's a car for that on Cars.com. Up to 50,000 cars are added daily to Cars.com. You can shop over 2 million cars for 2 million possibilities. Look, it's incredibly difficult to find a car. You don't even know where to start. You don't know exactly what you want. You don't know what's out there. You don't know really anything when you're looking for a car. You see them all over the place. You know people have them. You know they're driving around. You can hear them. But where do you actually start? Cars.com makes that incredibly efficient. And like I said, they got over 2 million options.
I'm also a mark when I walk onto a car lot. They know. They're like, this guy,
Yeah.
we're gonna bleed this guy dry. He's gonna get in here. We're gonna charge him as much as we can. He's just gonna say yes. And that's just it, dude. I'm just a mark when it comes to that.
The alarm goes off when you get out of your car.
I almost I'm so scared to go that I almost I'll have to fly my dad out so he can be my protector when I go to a car lot. Not with Cars.com. That makes it a lot easier. So if you're like me, which I think there's only a few people on this planet who can really haggle. But if you're more like me, just use Cars.com because you're amongst sharks when you go to a lot and you're not safe.
You know, you don't want to say this, but we do live in a world where it's like we are materialistic. We are judgmental. Like having a nice car is something. It means something. And purchasing something new, it's a fun way to treat yourself and make sure that like you're doing something that makes you feel good. And we all know like when you're having company over and you look outside and someone in your family pulls up and you're like, who's driving the new Chevy? And it's like a conversation. It's just like a good feeling. We always see a new car and we talk about it and we ask questions about it and you want to promote it and you want to talk about how cool it is and come on and look at the infotainment system. That's like the cool stuff about getting a car and searching for it on Cars.com. That's like the best part of the process is like picking out your trims and your years and your makes and all that stuff. It's the best.
It's your car, man. It's like one of the biggest things that you'll ever purchase, like a home and your car, and then like your kids. All those are your big three things you got to worry about in life, pretty much. You got to make sure you take your car properly. You got to make sure you shop for it properly. You got to make sure you see all the options that are out there. Cars.com is going to help you do that. Find your next possibility on Cars.com. Where to next? Another feel-good story. Gary Woodland's coming back this week at the Sony. He had Gary Woodland, 39, was diagnosed with a brain lesion last year. If you recall, had surgery on September 18th that removed the majority of the tumor. He said in a statement, I know Kiz said on the broadcast that he had talked to him and he was a little bit 50-50, wasn't quite sure if he was going to get clearance. He got clearance, so he'll be playing this week. Gary Woodland is like out here in Scottsdale. There's a couple guys, Max, Colt, and then Kiz, who's not in Scottsdale, but like those guys are really, really close with Gary Woodland, and they could not speak higher of that guy. When he came into our office after winning the U.S. Open, holding that trophy like a G and dapped everybody up, like one of the coolest moments that we've ever had, and how friendly he was. I think he goes under the radar. So to see him come back, he's going to play this week. Looks like he's healthy, all that, enough to play. Very notable, and we fucking love that guy.
That's a faster return than I would have thought. I mean, obviously very scary, like the scariest thing you can imagine. And for him to be coming back so quickly, yeah, that's obviously very promising, and I'm thrilled for him.
Otherwise, I really don't have that much. Anybody have anything else? I know we're kind of getting back into the swing of things here. A couple of weeks we'll be traveling again and hitting stuff up, but right now we're sitting on a handful of amazing videos. The Tiger one's coming out, so don't forget to check that out. We got merch that we're going to kind of tease here in the next couple of days, next couple of shows that'll be coming out January 22nd that might have something to do with the Phoenix Open. So there's a lot of things happening, but in terms of the podcast, I think that's all I got for right now.
It was our first snowfall, so I would like to know our guesses, Alex Bush. I don't know if you are prepared for that.
Yeah. Alex Bush has the flu right now, but I'm good on him for being prepared.
Yeah, so the first snowfall was over this weekend. Sorry for my voice.
Okay. Well, Dan
so
Rappaport
it was.
I had the flu in the Dominican Republic when we did the good stuff.
Terrible.
And it was a nightmare.
It's the worst thing ever.
Oh, shout out to sorry to cut you off, Bush, but our friend Alistair Doherty is actually going to miss the first Corn Ferry Tour event because he has the flu. He's down really bad with the flu.
Dang.
Sucks. I know. Absolutely sucks. I feel
he
for
must
him.
be so sick to not play.
Well, there's a lot of the long, people, whether it's long COVID or long, whatever it is. And I know a lot of people are kind of been getting it. And he started getting sick, I feel like, late last week. And for him to not be going, like you said, he must be very down. He does have the first 12 starts in the whole deal, but he is like down bad, which I feel terrible about. So hopefully he gets better.
If he's like how I was this weekend, there's no way he can play golf. That's sure.
Pretty much what he said. He's like,
I figured it out.
No, I got it right here. First snowfall in New York City this winter. We finally have an answer. It was January 6th. And our answers were...
It was January 6th?
That snow stormed New York City.
That's right, bro.
We had Riggs with January 4th, Frankie and myself with December 23rd, and Dan with December 18th. So Riggs picked up another point.
Wow.
And now Riggs and Dan are tied for first place with 11.
Pretty damn good. We did that like early December. For you to say January 4th is pretty impressive.
That is.
That's just random, but thank you. I appreciate that. Feels really good. It feels really nice.
It felt good to see snow again, man. I feel like it hasn't snowed in New York City in 2.5, 3 years. It felt good to see it. Everybody was posting about it. It was a feel-good moment. It didn't stick. I kind of wanted it to stick, but didn't stick. Just melted right away.
I have a snowblower that the people that we bought the house from left in our garage. Like when we bought the house, garage was empty, and there was a brand new, I'm talking brand new, one of those big red, like legitimate ones, was just waiting in there. It's like $2,500, and they just left it for us. We were like, holy shit. Like, yeah, we're moving into the city. Like, they didn't want it. And I don't even know how to use it, and I have not even turned it on because we have not gotten a single inch of snow since I've owned this house, knock on wood. 2 years.
Yeah.
Not a single inch.
Insane.
So
did you guys not? You guys didn't get any on Long Island or no?
We didn't. So the North Shore and like close to the city got enough, but like in Suffolk, like if you looked at the map, it was like around, and we got rain. It was weird.
Right, because Boston and like and the New England area got crushed.
There was a pretty decent amount of a little bit of snow up in Flagstaff, Arizona, which is only about 2 hours north of here, and there was like hail and stuff yesterday in Arizona. So we were getting a little bit of weather as well. I was very jealous of the snow. I love snow. Snow makes everything prettier until obviously it gets slushy in New York and the whole deal. But yeah, I win. So I'm tied with Dan.
Yeah, you and Dan are tied at the top with 11 right now.
Congratulations to your Buffalo Bills on the division. That's
never
4 straight. Yeah, no, never a doubt.
5 straight wins.
So give us a quick, how you feeling going into the playoffs?
Feel great, dude. I told you there was never a doubt this team's going to make a Super Bowl run.
Who are they playing?
You guys all doubted. You guys all doubted. Soupy is back on.
I told you.
We're playing the Steelers on Sunday. I'll be in attendance. It's going to be great.
I mean, Josh Allen just makes questionable throws. His decision making at times is.
But does it matter with how he played in the second half? I will take every single turnover for all the amazing plays that he risks a turnover and makes incredible plays for.
I mean, that was Brett Favre's thing for the longest time. You just need to win the Super Bowl. People won't give a fuck.
Just keep shooting from the hip,
and I'll win it this year. I'll be laughing.
Listen, they're a great team. And that was a wild division, obviously, with the whole thing. Aaron Rodgers coming in, gets hurt in the beginning of the year, first play essentially. Jets end up rattling off 7 wins somehow, which is just absurd. 7-10 for a team that didn't have any business winning more than 1 game. Like, you should have just lost every single game. They were on 7 games. They crushed the Patriots at the end of the year. They end up losing a draft pick to them. Yeah, so it's just classic Jets.
It was crazy there for a long time because they felt like they were in limbo where it was Aaron Rodgers was sort of teasing that he was going to come back if they made it to the playoffs. So then if you're the Jets, you're like, all right, we winning games or we losing games? What do we want us to do?
There were some games where it was like the Chiefs game they should have won and the Patriots game they should have won. Like the Patriots game on that return punt was just like you couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs game they obviously should have won. And it's just like you think back and it's like maybe Rodgers comes back, but they end up winning the last couple of games of the season anyway. So even if he came back, nothing would have changed. It was that middle of the season, Zach Wilson just couldn't figure out how to win football games. 4 losses in a row. Like, oh God. Yeah, bad.
Do you think like in classic Jets fashion, Aaron Rodgers could play tomorrow?
Oh yeah, I think he could have. Definitely.
Yeah,
I think he's
fine
like ready
now.
to go.
He's ready.
I think he's ready to go. But we'll see. I'm sure next year his I don't know, his knee will just like explode or something. Like
there's going to be so much pressure for him to stay healthy for the first game.
They better change that fucking field, man. They better change that fucking field. I'll tell you that. You can't have that guy come back and have that same field. You need to just burn it after the season. So many guys got hurt. So many guys. The what's his name on the Dolphins got hurt? That linebacker, he tore his Achilles.
Oh yeah,
he was on Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks has been amazing. The in-season Hard Knocks with the Dolphins, really good watch. That Mike McDaniel's, man, he's such a nerd, but like the way that he, like, you would never believe that guy could wrangle in a football team and like make them play for him. What?
You know who he's best friends with?
Who's that?
Mike McDaniels?
Yeah,
Dan Soder.
Oh shit!
They grew up in Colorado together.
Wow, you trying to die tonight?
They grew up in the weirdest friendship when you find out about it. But yeah, him and Mike McDaniels, him and Dan Soder are buddies. But yeah, he's an interesting cat for sure.
I can't believe he's 40 years old. He looks like he's about 19.
He's just like, I don't know. He's you have to watch it to like I can't believe they don't find him corny, but he's the man.
You watch that guy for 2 seconds, you're like, something's going on with that guy. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
But people like him.
he's wild, but really cool. Like, and like you see things that you don't realize, like how football, like your play calling. And at one point, and this was on Twitter, but like Tua was throwing a Tyreek for like the game ending play, Tyreek Hill, and he was like talking to Tyreek, but he was looking at Waddle. And he's like, don't look at Reek. Like, nobody look at Reek right now, but Reek, it's coming to you. Like, we're all going to look at Waddle right now in the huddle. Everyone look at you. He's like, Reek, this is your time to shine, baby. And like, Tyreek's all the way over here, and they're all looking this way. And like, you don't realize, I've never been in a football huddle in my life, clearly.
No.
And you're like, oh shit, like that kind of makes sense. Like, if I'm just by nature, I'd tap the guy in the chest, be like, you ready? Like, you can't because someone's watching.
I would have never thought of that. That's how good this crew would be at football. Well, we got Trent Ryan's got an all-star, high school all-star.
Pretty good at football.
You were all right.
Yeah.
All right. We do have an arsenal of really good from the galleries that people have submitted since the last time that we did it. So Thursday show, we'll get to a bunch of from the galleries. Right, right now I want to take us out today by reminding everyone that tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, don't be afraid to hop onto YouTube and check out a video that we did with Tiger Woods, professional golfer, a good friend of ours. So go watch that on YouTube. We'll be back on Thursday to react to the entire thing. Thank you for listening. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.